This is Brian Simon, author of The Real Estate Journey. So excited to be with Jewel B and So Booking Cool.
Welcome to So Booking Cool. It's Jewel B. Today's guest is a serial entrepreneur of nearly 20 years, a principal broker, and the author of The Real Estate Journey, From Dreaming and Home Buying to Realty and Entrepreneurship. He is Dr. Brian P. Simon. So, in addition to being a businessman, you also have a background as an academic dean, professor, as well as a minister. So I would be curious to know, what is the knowledge that you have taken from these roles to real estate entrepreneurship and also being an author?
That's a really great question, Jewel. When I began my journey coming to the Virginia Beach area to go to Realty University and got my master's in church history and doctrine, and then my doctorate in ministry and leadership coaching, I never dreamed that I would be diving into full-time real estate the month that I finished my doctoral degree. I had planned to teach and preach, and I just loved empowering leaders and coaching people, to reach their goals and that kind of stuff, which is what I niched in while I was in school. And it was towards the very end of my doctorate that I started to find land for builders after I met a guy at a local church. He was like, introduced me to, hey, you can help find land for builders at night, make a little extra money. And I started to see that as I realized the money that was there and also my passion, I started to lose interest in other things. And I started to see, I have my wife is about to have our first child, who's now 13 years old. And I saw the opportunity in real estate, and he challenged me, and my mentors challenged me and said, you have to do what you're passionate about, not what you went to school for, if that's not what you're passionate about. And so that journey was a big leap for me, a big change. And I went as a full-time real estate agent, and then about a year and a half later, I started a home building company with my Class 8 builder, Kenton McClung, Custom Homes of Virginia, and we started to build a home building company, and then the real estate market crashed back in 2007, 2008. And so that's when I really had to ask myself the hard questions. Am I committed to entrepreneurship? Am I committed to this journey that I have now begun? And through that process, year after year, all these years, every time I've hit those hard times in business and entrepreneurship, particularly in my real estate company, where we have over maybe 65 or 70 real estate, and watching these entrepreneurs begin an entrepreneurial journey, and some of them succeed and some of them fail. And it's broken my heart over the years watching good people not be able to pull it off. But other people come in and boom, they make a tremendous amount of money like I did when I first began. And so that's part of what, brought me to this place of just falling in love with entrepreneurship and wanting to spark other people's dreams. Because had I not had my dreams sparked and then laid out the goals and began to achieve them, then I would never have the freedom and flexibility of being a business owner as I do now.
Do you think that it happens often that people go to school and they get a degree, but that's not the kind of work that is their true passion?
It seems to me that that's the case, because I interview a lot of real estate agents who, they'll come in wanting to join my brokerage, and I always hear their stories, and so many of them had tried real estate for a little while, and then but they ended up not making enough money and had to go back out and get that regular job that they had gone to school for and things like that. And they always cannot wait to get back into the freedom and flexibility of a real estate career, which I tell them, you work harder, but you work more flexibly. You have more control of your lifestyle, but you still got to work your tail off, or you're not going to succeed. And I really do. I believe that a lot of people, because of dream busters, like I can't do it, or my grandfather failed when he started a business, and my family was broke for years because of that. I wouldn't want to take that risk, So I think there's that fear and that risk that just keep people from, let me just keep this job. When I retire, maybe I'll do this or that. But a lot of times they're not able to end up achieving those dreams.
And they're settling.
Yeah, it really is. It's like, it's do you want to have a regular day job, or are you willing to put the extra effort and work hard to pursue that dream, if that's the dream that you have? Whether that's to start a salon business or a real estate, activity, or buy your first investment property. Like we help hundreds of clients a year buy and sell homes, and I've watched people build tremendous wealth, just small steps, buying the first house and then selling it with their profits a couple years later and buying the next one and then buying rental property with their profits. And each time, I see the fear, I see, and that's smart because that's healthy. You have to ask hard questions. Is this the right move? And then, count the cost. But so many times people will freeze in fear rather than step out and take the risk. And there's small steps they can take. And that's what I tell people. You don't have to quit your job and dive in. There's a lot of ways to begin step by step, towards that goal.
I know one of the tips that you mentioned specifically for entrepreneurship, you say that when people start a business and only get paid when sales or transactions happen, they must sell themselves. So can you tell us more about what that means and why it's important?
Yeah, and, I go back to when I was in my master's degree and I was doing a church history class. And there was this, one of my professors was telling a story. It might have been about like John Wesley, or one of the great, preachers of, 100, 200 years ago. And he would say, you got to catch yourself on fire and people come around to watch you burn, and it's like, and that's what I believe I carried that into this real estate journey, was I realized that if I express my passion for this career that I have jumped into in this entrepreneurship, that I need to brand myself. I need to be, whether it's wearing my logos, it's like I am a preacher of my businesses. And I started Simon Studios with my partner Ethel a few years ago, and they focus on brand development, brand strategy, brand management. And it is so important that an entrepreneur fall in love with their business and then get other people to be, so it's catchy. Other people want to jump in. So many of my friends quit their jobs over the years to come and join me in my company because they saw my passion and they saw that I was driven towards this vision. And they said, you know what, I want to be a part of that. And so had, my friends and people that I met along the way had not so many of them quit their jobs and jumped in as a result of seeing my drive and passion, then, where would I be? My businesses would not be where they are, so it was that ability, and of inspiring people to be a part of the vision, and they all can come in and make as much money as they want to make, and that's what I tell people.
Yeah, because I know that everyone or a lot of people you spent time with over the last 10 years have been sparked by entrepreneurship. Do you think that entrepreneurship crosses everyone's mind at some point, Doctor?
I would say that to some degree it does, but there are several people I've met over the years who, whether it's because of like those dream busters that I mentioned before, or things that happened when they were young, that they really only believe that they're safe if they have a normal job. And so because of that, do they secretly dream? Do they secretly dream when they're going to sleep? Do they, and that I can't answer, but I do know that almost everybody that I get around, and as we begin to talk about what is your dream, what is your this, what are your hopes, what are your goals, who do you want to make an impact in their lives? Entrepreneurship seems to come out of everyone. It's like I believe that every human has a creative spark, inside of them, and that creative dreamer side, even though it's squelched and pushed down so much in our society. But that dreamer inside of us is part of what's made America to be such a great country, is people taking those risks and stepping out of the normal. And it's chaotic. Running a business is not easy. Managing staff and the employees and all the financial, learning curves that every business owner experiences. It can be a little daunting, but if you don't take the steps and you're not willing to follow those dreams and turn the dreams into action steps and into attainable goals, then you just end up where you are and staying right there. And that's, so it's been a great joy of my last 15 years, watching people who never thought they would do what they're doing now. And some of those people are not even at my company anymore. They've gone on and started their own businesses around this area or other areas. And I take joy in that, watching entrepreneurs go after it. And when they reach those dreams and they begin to see the financial reward and the independence, that they can only fire themselves. And that's always a benefit of being the owner. Sometimes you deserve to be fired. Many times I've deserved to be fired, but I can't fire myself. I just can forgive myself and move on.
Wow, I like how you word that. That's very true. And I think it's also awesome that it's joyful for you to see people that did work at your company go on and start to do, their own thing as well.
Yeah, every now and then, during either the holidays or, different times, I'll get this random text from one of the folks who have been with me over the years and just, thanking me. It's like when they left my company, they weren't maybe, they were just excited to go pursue their dream, and I just blessed them on the way out. But years later, and as they reflect, sending me those notes, it means a lot because, I see that, my family wouldn't be where we are. When I met you, I had no money. I had no whatever. And now here I am. I'm a successful business owner, and my children have more independence, and we can go on trips. And, it's like, it brings me a tremendous amount of joy. And that's, back when I went to Regent University back in the beginning, when I moved to this Virginia Beach area, that was all I wanted to do. I wanted to help to inspire people to reach their dreams, and I just never imagined that 15, 20 years later, I'd be through a book and out telling people about why you should take the risk and why take the steps to begin to invest into real estate, start a business, those types of things.
And why do you think real estate is a field of work that seemingly appeals to a lot of people?
I think the barrier, there's a couple. One is the barrier of entry to become a real estate agent is so simple. Like, I did not need undergrad, master's, or I didn't need any of my degrees to become a real estate agent. I had a GED or a high school diploma and, take a class for a few $100s and you can become a real estate agent. So that's one very attractive thing of being a real estate agent, but, property ownership and rental property, historically it's how people have built wealth, purchasing small properties, and over time they built, great value, or buying homes and renovating and selling. And I think, there's a part of the group that it's the money that they see the potential to flip homes, that type of thing. But everybody has their own main drive, but that seems to be some of the main ones I noticed.
And the real estate journey gives like a well-rounded account on the real estate experience, like from information on how to achieve success, fulfillment, and wealth as a real estate agent, homeowner, and entrepreneur. So why was taking this approach to your book important to you?
When I wrote the book, part of it was I wanted to help the agents in my own company to manage their finances. And that's the last chapter in the book. But, and that was part of right then, I had a lot of agents who just didn't understand. finances and taxes and budgeting. So it began in that way. But chapter 1 is, unless the mind can conceive and believe, it can never achieve. So it's helping walk the dream into reality. So as I began to prepare and say, you know what, do I really want to do this book, and who am I speaking to? Who am I encouraging? What is the goal? And it really came down to the bottom line is entrepreneurship and business has so changed my life and the lives of those around me that's the core message of the book. So that's why I'm so real in the book. You know, I'm not like a real estate hype man. You know, here are my struggles. This was not easy. You know, and how do you wake up and push through the hard things that happen along the business journey? And I was going through a very challenging organizational shift and financial. We were, just was not a great year for us. And it was part of that pain, chaos, that made me say, I need to put this down. You know, I had a good friend of mine, John Garvin. He's a doctor and a professor out at West Point University. And he was in town. We were spending time together. And he's like, Bud, you just sit in this office and do what you do every day. But every time I'm around you, you inspire me. You need to get out of this office and go inspire other people. And if you do that, you'll be re-inspired, you know, because I was, you know, when you're losing money every month, which I talk about in the book, you know, it's like years of prosperity, but then there's times where your business may not have that. And that's what I was experiencing. It was in that kind of that difficult season that I got more in tune with the fact that entrepreneurship is such a deep passion that I would do a whole lot to not go back to any type of a regular job, you know, and it's a life passion that I have continued to revisit, you know, and I tell people, I don't recommend people go out and start 5, 10 businesses like what I have done. You know, it's very stressful. It's a lot of work and time, and spread your focus. I tell people, choose one. Focus, pick one business that you believe will be profitable. And out of the money that you begin to make from that business, you can invest into real estate. You can do other businesses at that point if you have enough money in the bank. But I see a lot of people go out and they can't focus on one thing for more than a few months. And I say, if you can't lock in and really build the business that brings the money that helps you then to do the next steps, then you'll never get there. And that, so for me, I learned some lessons, got my butt kicked, quite a few times, along the way. And it's something that we can't be afraid of. You know, you gotta fail forward and you gotta be willing to, you know, get knocked down. Seasons change and so must I. You know, and every season, you know, we want to grow and change and be ready to handle those challenges in a better way the next time.
Absolutely. How do you stay focused, and how do you balance, you know, all your robust work life?
Yeah, you know, I will say that, you know, while I was in school way back in the day, and I can barely remember the classes, but there were so many classes about how to balance your schedule, block your time, you know, all of those things. And I was never really able to fully apply those. You know, I say I'm like a workaholic and I'm a familyaholic. I work a lot, but I do have certain days. Like Friday is my home building day where I'm with my partner all day and we do whatever needs done for the building company. Or we go out and look at our beautiful homes that we're building all around the area together and just talk through the finances of the week and things like that. So I have each day different focuses that I focus on. But then when it comes to evenings and weekends, you know, it's like I'm either with my family or I'm with my family and also making sure that things are moving along. If there's an emergency I need to step into, I try to always be available, but you got to know when to work and when not to. And tired eyes never see a bright future. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest mistakes I made over the last 15 years was there were a season or two where I let myself work way too much. And I just wore myself out, you know, and I would go through a bit of a dip because I didn't have the energy, So my partner and I go away, my home building partner and I go away twice a year, and we take a week and we plan out the rest of, that next 6 months. And we also revisit our 5-year plan. And we spend a whole week doing nothing but whiteboarding and planning and reminding ourselves, what are we going to do? When we get back, how is the next 6 months going to change the next 20 years of our business? And that's how we try to look at it. So it's a lot of planning and knowing the why am I doing it. Because when I wake up one day and I don't have the energy, and this happens every now and then for sure, I don't want to go to work, just like other people don't want to go to work sometimes. And I say, in my book I mentioned the real estate journey, I'm like, you got to look in the mirror and you got to remind yourself, why am I doing this? Why did I start this business? Why, what is my real why? What am I committed to? And what will this do for me, my family? And so I push myself on a daily basis, because it's just, if you don't push yourself, there's nobody going to do it, not as a business owner. It's not going to be, there's nobody telling me I got to get up and work my butt off. It's something that I have to build that habit and those choices. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. And that's the thing, it's like, it's as hard as it is and as many challenges, it's like every season I will try to adjust, if I see that I'm getting, into a unhealthy cycle of working too much, and I'll do some things and take care of myself, self-care, and build that into my schedule. But overall, it's a balancing act, but the biggest thing is having good leaders, having strong leadership. My home building partner, he has grown and developed just as I have. We started together. Neither of us knew what the heck we were getting into, starting to build homes back in '06. And the many ups and downs of land development and all of that. But he is such a strong leader. So he leads the staff of the home building company. And I position more of a support role and a financial role and other things. And then my main focus is my real estate brokerage. So like I said, you got to focus on what you're focused on, not everything. So I focus my focus, time and energy is on my real estate brokerage, Fit Realty. And, we sell hundreds of homes, helping buyers and sellers in this area every year, over $800 million in sales the last 15 years. And there's never been an easy year. Never been. There's always drama, always hard challenges, but it's one of those things that if you have the right people around you, you have good leadership, and you got to know when to tell people to go away too. You got to fire when you need to fire. And that's been one of the hardest parts, coming from my history of wanting to love people, was when did you fire people? So
right.
Some of the biggest mistakes I made was not firing people quick enough. When my gut told me, and everything told me that I needed to tell this person, go find a new job, go away. And it was when I would delay too long as what, many of those situations are what caused the years that weren't as good to be. So that's been a growth area for myself. I'm always growing, and that's an area that I, how do you fire well, and when do you fire, and when can you give people warning? Hey, you need to go start looking for a new job, that type of thing, because over 15 years the business changes and people do get used to being in the same business, and they might lose their drive, their focus. They have their own interests, since they're not a business owner along with me. So that's that ongoing challenge.
Wow. What a beautiful response. What do you tell people? What is it in terms of like what it means to be a successful, and you've mentioned some of it regarding being a real estate agent, but yes, what does it mean exactly to be successful in that and to be a successful homeowner and successful entrepreneur?
that's a loaded question there. I'll pounce on each one, and you can ask any clarifying questions. But becoming a successful real estate agent, it really begins with, once you get your real estate license and you find a good brokerage to get set up with. Hopefully they have some good technology and things like that. But a lot of it is, repetition and practice, and you want to build confidence in someone that people want to be with. Real estate agents will come into a brokerage, and the first thing I tell them is, man, I can just tell you have no confidence, so you need to fake it till you make it, dude. Like, you got to fake it. You're more scared than the buyer. You're the person who's leading them, and you're scared to death. So I'm like, confidence is the first thing. It's like when you wake up in the morning and you get out of bed, you know that your knees are going to carry you, and if you stand up one day and one of your knees doesn't work, you lose confidence the next morning when you wake up and you go to step out of your bed and your knee doesn't work. You begin to lose confidence. So it's like you have to build confidence, even if you have to fake it till you make it. And that's and I've watched many agents do that very well. After they understand that, that's a real thing. And then as a business owner, I would say that one of the little jokes I make, and I've said this for years in my office, is, blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be broken. And that's not in the Bible that I'm aware of, but it's but I say, blessed are the flexible, because seasons change, so must I. And as every year, things will change. The people around you will change. Their interests will change. As you're growing a business, the market changes. New competitors come in. New technologies come in. And if you are so stiff and firm, you won't change for anything, you might be in some trouble, So I think you have to be flexible, yet sometimes you got to be stubborn as a mule. You got to put your foot down, because there's nobody else going to be stubborn for your company as you will be. And so there's a balance. How do you be flexible, yet stubborn as a mule when you need to be? And I think that's one of the really, kind of neat challenges business owners have to walk through on a weekly basis. And then when it comes to buying rental property and purchasing your first home, it's really, like I say in one of the chapters, no perfect spouse, no perfect house. And you've got to choose a home that is going to be good for you in that season, and not look at it as your forever home. I almost giggle when I hear people say, oh, it's going to be my forever home. I'm like, no, you're going to be calling us back in 5 years when they're selling us to build you a ranch. You know what I mean? Like, and it's all the time. So it's like you want to take a step, even if you can't afford a large home. You might want to start with a townhouse, a condo, something like that. And it's getting your foot into the real estate world and taking those tax deductions and the benefits of ownership helps to give you the confidence to say, well, now it's time to buy my first rental property. I've owned my home for a while. Now it's time to buy a rental property. And that's how my dad retired. He had a business for 15 years, but he mainly retired off of the little affordable rental properties he picked up throughout the journey. And I talk a lot about my dad and one of my mentors in the book because they helped to form my belief, and not just belief, but I watched it happen. He's in Florida enjoying some pickleball and all that right now, and that's because he purchased rental property as a side business throughout his whole years. And by the end, when it was time to sell his business and retire, he was very well able to do that. And that's a lot of real estate agents and people that I've worked with and our companies worked with. It's awesome when they have built a great portfolio, and a lot of times with not that much money out of pocket, because one property helps you buy the next property, and the equity in that property can help you buy the next property. There's a lot of strange teachings out there telling everybody to get rich without any risk, and that's probably not ever going to happen. At least for I'm not a good real estate hype man on that side. It is risky. Real estate takes money to really get into it. but you can start with very little money, a lot less than most people.
Wow. Dr. Brian P. Simon, everyone. Thank you so much for talking with So Book and Cool. It was excellent speaking with you. The Real Estate Journey is now available. Let everyone know how they can keep up with you and how they can get the book.
Yeah, so today it's in bookstores and online, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, wherever your favorite bookseller is, it's available. We'd love to see some of you run out and grab it today. You can also go to briansimon.com, and there you can download free materials, some free ebooks, and also I have a coaching program that I'm coming out with very soon that we mentioned there. And if you just reach out to me, connect with me, I'll keep you up to date. And I just want to see some dreams happen, some dreams come true as people pursue their hopes and their goals. So feel free to connect with me that way.
Yes.
On the podcast.
Oh, no problem. I would love to speak with you again. And everyone, definitely make sure that you check out The Real Estate Journey and stay tuned for what Dr. Brian P. Simon has next. Thank you to all the listeners, and until next time. Yes, go on. Mm-hmm.
I was just saying, everyone have a wonderful day.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And to all the listeners, until next time, So Book and Cool.